All right, guys, the Root Crew, all you guys have sent in your questions for this week. Myself and Kat, we're going to fly through those, answering all your questions. A lot of Supercoach ones in there, obviously, for the start of the season. I preach to be patient, but there is some asterisks around that as well, which we'll talk about today, I think. Kat, how was your weekend? Had a good one. I believe you're up the Hunter Valley region.
Yeah, I had a wedding, which was really nice up there for a guy I've known since high school. It's always nice when you see someone you've known for that long tie the knot. So that was really sweet. And if it wasn't for that, I would have probably been crying in bed because of the state of my Supercoach team.
Looked like a bad day to be an Aperol Spritz up there just quietly.
It was a bad day. Had a couple of those. Enjoyed it. Needed it.
Lovely. Awesome. Let's get stuck into those questions, Kat. We're going to fly through those. We've got about 40 minutes here until we've got a meeting in the studio. So we'll try and get through all your questions, guys. A lot of them are sort of double ups or have similar answers from a Supercoach perspective. So we'll go through all of those. Kat, you want to take us away?
I will. Now I'm going to go in order of when they were asked. And then obviously, like you said, if we get double ups, we'll just speed through those. So the first question is from Elijah O'Brien. Does Lola deserve another chance or should May come straight in?
I will say this on Tamalolo, and there'll be a few questions about it because my dickhead mate, Tim Williams, convinced you all to go home. I don't know why. I was never a huge fan of it. I will say this, though. On the weekend, the Cowboys, they put up a big score. They were never really a chance of losing that game past the 20th minute. They were in full control. So it doesn't surprise me that Todd Payton left his 30-year-old front row forward, who's on a 10-year deal worth $1 million a season, on the bench. I would wait another week just to see what Taumalolo does. It's a shit score of the weekend. It was dreadful, 16 points. Absolutely awful. Don't get me wrong. But just remember, and this is something I'll bring up a lot today, it is the first week. So, Kat, when you're doing Supercoach prices and whatnot, it's on a 3-round rolling average. Round 1, it is literally in your rolling average for 1 week. So if he comes out the next 3 weeks and plays 40, 50 minutes and scores well, round 1, it's not going to fucking matter in the slightest. So that's what I would say. I think you've all got yourself into a bit of a hole with Taumalolo, but if you've got him, I would wait another week. You can also wait another week for Terrell May, but make up your own mind there, and shout out to Tim Williams for fisting you all on that one. What do we got next, Kat?
Hey, Guru, if you were coaching Manly, which I know people will sometimes think that you do, would you leave Garrick in the centres and put Tommy Talau on the wing?
That one comes from Connor. I personally would move Garrick back to the wing, Tommy Talau in the centres. But when I was in Vegas, I was obviously at the Manly captain run. I was talking to a few people. From what I gathered, Tommy Talau's been told he's a winger this year. So I think this afternoon, Team List Tuesday, we're recording Tuesday morning, I think you'll see Tommy Talau named on the wing with probably Vega, pending what happens with Jackson Paulo. But I would move Garrick back to the wing. Maybe Garrick can turn into a gun centre, but I'm not totally convinced there. I would be moving Kohler back to the right, Garrick to the wing. That's how I'd be doing it. Next up, Kat.
This one's from Alex. Does Storm have what it takes to win the premiership with Blore and NAS to come to the side?
Blore and Nas coming back in the side is going to be a big plus. Do not get me wrong. I'm not convinced the Melbourne Storm do. I'm still not quite convinced on that forward pack. I'll be able to give you a better idea in 5 or 6 weeks. They went up against the Panthers on the weekend. They were very good. History tells us round 1, though, especially if you are the Melbourne Storm, you can get up for a contest. We know that what the Penrith Panthers looked like the other night is nothing like what they're going to look like in 27 weeks. It's also nothing like when the Melbourne Storm are going to look like in 27 weeks. So I don't have the Melbourne Storm as actual premiership contenders. I've got them in my top 5 or 6 teams, obviously, but gun to head, I'm not going to sit on the fence and get splinters. I don't think the Melbourne Storm can win a premiership this season. If Blore comes in and he absolutely brains it like previous guys have under Craig Bellamy, that will change things for me, but I want to see it before I put them into premiership contention range.
Cool. Ados has asked you, G'day, Roo, hope you're well. Are you well?
I broke my laptop yesterday. Could be better, but I'm doing okay, Ados. Yeah. We'll take it.
Loving the Patreon content, legendary stuff. If you're JD, are you making changes to the Rabbitohs squad? Personally, as a Bunnies fan, I'll bring in Tane Milne for Kenner. I just think while Tane defensively has some issues, he's pretty solid as a backup while we wait for Whiten.
Shout out to Ados too. He obviously does a lot of social media content as well. Ados the Great. Go and check him out on all of our things, part of our community, doing good things. If I'm JD, I don't mind having Tane Milne in for Kenner. The other one I don't mind is Isaac Thompson coming in. You've only got one more week to wait as far as bringing in Jack White. And I do think Richie Kenner, he really, he scored a try, which is all good and well. The Supercoach score was impressive, but Ruben Garrick gave him an absolute bath in that game over there in Vegas. Even when Ruben Garrick was on one foot and rolled his ankle, he was still giving poor Richie Kenner a bath. So I probably would make a change, but I reckon JD will probably stay strong, but we'll find out this afternoon. Whoever it is, though, there's only one Jack White, and once he gets in there, he's going to be an absolute superstar. I can't wait to watch Jack play in round 3 against the Roosters. Holy fuck, Kat, how exciting.
I can't wait. I'm going to be at that game. Okay, this one's from Luke Henderson. I'm sure you'll touch on it, but should the Cows and Dolphins be picked straight for Vegas next year with all the forward passes, the US audience will be more at home with it, not to mention the penalty try.
Penalty try was horse shit, Luke. Kind of cost me a Supercoach draft game, but we'll talk about that later in the week. For me, as far as the teams to go over there, I'll tell you what, if the Cowboys are playing the footy that they played the other day for the entire season, I'd be happy to send them. I want to see the New Zealand Warriors go over there, though, Kat. That's the team that I want to see. I was big on the Newcastle Knights because of KP. They've got to start to perform to probably get a bait over there. But New Zealand Warriors is the team that I want to see over there. They would be my priority, along with, if the Panthers win a 4th in a row, I want them over there as well. Or maybe a Parramatta, a Western Sydney side, I want to go over there. But the Warriors at the moment, they're my priority to get there. If I'm in Vegas next year and you'll be with me, Catmandu, I think that'd just be unreal. The atmosphere would be electric if the Wars were over there.
Yeah, that would be so good. And you know that so many of those fans would make the trip over there as well, which is so much better. So from Blake, he wants to know, up the stakes this year, Rue, between you and Timmy, I'd love to see the loser get the other's team name tattooed on them.
Yeah, big call there, Blake. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I'm not going to lie. I'll talk to T-Rex about it, but I'll tell you what, if I win the first 2 card, and then that motherfucker gets a tattoo put on my ass because he happens to fluke the third one, I'd be beside myself. Like you're thinking, Blake, though. What do we got next?
I was just going to say, do you even have a tattoo?
No, I don't. Not a big tattoo guy.
Yeah, okay.
I know you got a few tats, don't you?
I have a few, just small ones, no large surface areas, but I don't know if any of those will be beers and break-evens related anytime soon.
Yeah.
Josh Dub Wallace, also thoughts on Piakura. If he is named, should we give him another shot? But if he's not, what are your thoughts?
Look, Piakura got knocked out in Las Vegas, yeah. Concussions are going to happen. The hot tip with all these guys for you, you had 6 months to prepare for your team. You analysed these guys. You had to look back at their stats. You watched their tape. You listened to me and Tim. I'll give you the hot tip. After 1 week, they're the same dude. Some of their roles might change. If Piakura gets knocked out, what the fuck do you want to do about that? It is going to happen. It is part of the game. Once again, it is round 1. That 4 in his rolling average will disappear very, very quickly. I think by the end of the year, we're looking back at Piakura going, oh, yeah, I forgot he even got knocked out in round 1. It'll be ancient history soon. And if you sell him after 1 week, I guarantee you, if that's going to be your attitude this year, you're going to be out of trades by halfway through Origin and you'll be up shit creek minus a paddle, Cat.
Facts. Well said. Gus wants to know, if you're Ricky, another coach that you often get confused
Tell you what,
with.
I can't say how happy I am that I'm not Ricky, but continue.
What do you do with Smithies when Horsburgh comes back?
I personally think Horsburgh will shift straight into the front row. I think Smithies will retain the 13 jersey. If not, Smithies into the front row, Horsburgh there. But I just think the minutes that Smithies is capable of playing, I would leave him at 13. But yeah, I'm happy either way. Honestly, Kat, in the most selfish way possible, I'm hoping that Smithies shifts into the front row, plays 60, 65 minutes. I'm hoping in Supercoach we get front row forward to our F duel. If one of him or Josh Curran can, I'll be pushing both heavily for my draft team because fuck me, I need it. That'd be ideal. I like Lucas Smithies in the 13. That was his first game there. I kind of want just Big Red charging onto the football. I'm happy to leave Smithies at 13, and that's at the moment what I think Ricky Stewart will run with.
Okay. And you do know Ricky Stewart pretty well.
Yeah, we're one in the same, me and Sticky.
Yeah.
Got a little
Sticky
tantrum in
Ricky.
us, but
I love it. Now, Maddie _2229, completely not Supercoach related, but Roo-Crew related. Everyone knows your origin story, Guru, but what about your partner in crime, Kat?
Kat, man, do the origin stories. Kat, I'm just going to hand this to you, to be honest with you. Give people a little bit of background, where you're from, what's your sitch.
This question makes me feel like an Avenger or something. What is my origin story? Well, I mean, I'm assuming the question's very much like sport related and how I got into rugby league and I suppose like the football side of things. Didn't grow up in a sporty family by any means. My mum is from Maroubra, so she was a South Sydney supporter back in the day, but once again, not a big footy family. It was actually my best friend's family that got me into footy. They started taking me to games. Their dad is so devoted. He's got a big bunny tattooed on his arm from the 2014 premiership. But they got me into it. And then I've always loved my sport, big Premier League follower, all that type of stuff. And then I started kind of working in that area more on the football side, but I always wanted to work more in footy as well. So I met you a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so I met Kat, my agency, my podcast agency that goes out and does all my deals. Kat was actually working for them. So we worked very closely for a couple of years together. And then equally a really happy day for me and a devastating day for me was when Kat rang me and said, hey, just letting you know, and Kat didn't have to, but we'd formed a pretty good relationship by that point to tell me that she was leaving the agency and going out to do her own thing, which made me super happy because I knew how successful she'd be. And I knew that one day I'd want to bring her back under Guru once I was at a point that I could. And the stars really aligned, didn't they?
They really did align because obviously last year or the end of 2022, we had the Men's World Cup and then we had the Women's World Cup here in Australia last year. So it was a crazy 12 months. It was a great time to be working in football, especially on the women's game. But there was always that goal to do a bit more in the league space, and very grateful to have found this opportunity with you. And it's really fun to be working together after knowing each other for all this time. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far, but I hope that answers the origin question.
Now, I'm going to point out one thing to all you footy heads out there. Kat refers to soccer as football.
Oh, yes.
Which on the international stage is 100% correct. But Kat, dare I say in this community,
I'm so sorry.
You're throwing people for
I'm
six.
really sorry about
But
that.
I don't think that's going to change, to be fair. And I think Kat, for her other work purposes, needs to stick with the term football 100%.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to deal with that one. But it is something I plan to give her a lot of shit about. Don't worry about that. So that's good gear.
It's funny because you do get kind of labelled as a bit of a Euro snob when you call it football because... But another, I suppose, part of my origin story is I did live in Spain at one point, and football is also what you call it in Spanish. And so for me, this is just the easiest way to say it. But yes, I'm talking about soccer.
Completely fair. What do we got next?
All right. The next one is...
Good luck reading that.
Mr. Not a Chippy.
Not a chippy. Nice.
He's not a chippy, okay? I know I previously said that I'm all about patience this year, but today I've swapped Grant and Brooks out for Appy and Carty and then reversed it about 73 times. I don't know what my gut is saying anymore. What is your opinion?
Reverse it for a 74th time, brother. I mean... Mate, I thought Bryce Cartwright looked sensational. He was unreal. But once again, it's his round one score. If he comes out the next 3 weeks and scores 40s, I just think people are very quick to chase round one scores. I would sit on your hands unless you've got an absolute, complete and utter disaster in your side that you need to chase somewhere. I would sit on your hands for now. Just looking at Bryce Cartwright, I mean, he's at 636K. He's not cheap. With that 100-point average, it's fantastic right now. But in week 4, if he scores, 60, 60, 60, which would be very good scores, you're not actually going to make that much money on Bryce Cartwright because that 100 is only going to be in his rolling average for the 1 week. If Bryce Cartwright happens to have a low score over the next few weeks and scores, I don't know, let's say a 40, all of a sudden that 116 he scored on the weekend plus 40, you're looking at, 150 points there. That's a 75 average. That's really not that much more than what he's priced at. So Bryce Cartwright looked unreal. He looks fantastic. If you've already got him, good as gold. Enjoy that ride. But I wouldn't be stressing dicks to bring him in right now. Please remember that round 1, it's a rolling average. If Bryce Cartwright comes out next week and this week and scores 100 again, all of a sudden it's a completely different conversation, Cap. But don't go chasing round 1 points. It is the most irrelevant week of the season. just by far and away.
Yeah. Wouldn't you say as well, just the same we put that lens with getting rid of a player, it's also the same when it comes to acquiring a player, because you are once again only going off what they've done in one game, and we know that the opening rounds are always they're not a great reflection of what's actually to be expected from the season.
Yeah, 100%. Keep in mind as well, Bryce Cartwright, he played against the Canterbury Bulldogs, who look like a busted arsehole. Let's be honest here. That might have just been a really good matchup on a dry track. I love Bryce. I've been a huge fan of him. I spoke about him only a few weeks ago with Tim as well. But yeah, just don't chase those points. It is round one. It's going to be quickly forgotten. If Bryce does it week in, week out, then let's have that conversation. Yeah. Also, if Bryce was at 300K cut, 100% shit in. Grab him now. I'm all over him.
Yeah.
The reality is that he's not.
Yeah, there's still a lot of potential to lose on him by jumping on it so soon.
All right, guys, that is all that we've got today. Now, this entire episode, it actually went for about 30 or 40 minutes. So you've had the first 15 odd minutes. The rest of the episode is available on the Roo Crew on Patreon. The link is in the description below. We've launched this community over the last couple of days, over the last week or so, to be fair. The Roo Crew on Patreon, $8 a week, $8 a month. Good God, I would have been pulling your teeth out then. $8 a month, only $2 a week. You get all this extra content. You get first dibs on merchandise, all ad-free in there, a stack of content. Honestly, there's probably too much content in there for you to consume. I wish you the best of luck trying to take it in each and every week for just $2. All these questions were posted in the Roo Crew by members in there. So if you want to get your name on there, hear a little shout out and whatnot, like the guys did today, go and join the Roo Crew. It is in the description below. Patreon, download the app. Honestly, I've never used it before. I've never been part of a Patreon before. The last week or so, it is just piss easy to use. It is an absolute piece of cake. I can barely turn my laptop on. I broke my laptop yesterday, to be fair. But I've worked out how to use it all within a couple of days. So very straightforward, very simple, cheap as chips, in my opinion. And the content you're going to get there is going to be endless. And you're going to get first priority as far as asking questions, getting a feature in there. We're going to have a guru hotline over the next few weeks and whatnot. First dibs on merchandise. You'll get an invite to our meet and greets at Magic Round and whatnot. We'll organise locations for you guys to come and catch up, maybe during Origins and whatnot. And we'll have a little Christmas party at the end of the year as well, where you guys get to come into the studio here, have a look around, then we'll go down to a pub and sink a couple of Roger Scooey Vasa sheks. So head to the link in the description. The Roo Crew, the best community in rugby league, is only a week old, but we're growing rapidly, and I want you guys to be a part of it.